this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the missing key for so many people getting the results that they want in their life. I'm going to share with you how to apply this understanding so that you start to create more change than ever before. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can really plow through to the next level to create what you want in a very powerful way. This, I think, many times is what keeps people more so into the theories, more so into the head, rather than going straight for their goals, straight for their manifestations, and understanding how to really embody it at a completely new level. Now, just yesterday, I posted something on Instagram, and if you guys don't follow me there, I'll go ahead and leave the link right here. I post daily videos or daily type content, and I also do live Q&As quite often. So if you guys want to have more of an interaction with me, I'll go ahead and post it right there for you guys. And in and on Instagram, what I did is I posted a quote that was about understanding the missing key for me for the longest time. And this missing key had to do with keeping everything as theory inside my own mind. So back in the day, what I would do is I would read book after book. I would go to seminar after seminar, or I would watch seminar after seminar online, and I would just absorb as much information as I possibly could. Now, this was good for where I was in life. I was at a point to where I wanted to learn as much as I could. It was shortly after I had my spiritual awakening back in like 2012, 2013. And after that, there was just a whole new world of things I wanted to learn. So I went and I learned as much as I possibly could, and literally probably thousands and thousands of hours of content was absorbed. And even today, I still consume a lot of content. And what I posted in that Instagram post is that I went from a consumer to a creator. I consumed content to then creating content. Now, I'm not saying that you have to create content, but what I'm saying is that there's so many people out there, including yourself, that have potential that could just change the world. All that has to happen is applying that information, maybe sharing the message if you feel so called to do that, but understanding that there is a fine line between the theory and the mind, which is where I was for a very long time, and then going into the action. So there's a difference, because then you start to experience it. You start to embody it at a completely new level. And that's what I went through. I then realized that was, I've told this story a million times, but I was walking around my hallway and I was thinking to myself, what is the one thing I could do every day to change my life the most? At the time, I was working at Barneys New York in women's shoes, sales commission job, 40 hours a week. And I was absorbing as much information as I could. On my lunch breaks, I would be out. I'd always leave work for my lunch breaks so that I didn't have to be around, like always in the lunchroom. There were people talking about, the day, the sales day and stuff, and it was always talking about work. So I wanted to get away, so I'd always go. It was in the Palazzo Casino here in Vegas. I'd go to like a coffee shop that was close by. I would watch or put in my headphones and just watch videos and learn as much as I could. And that was a great period, and that was things that allowed me to really absorb all the information. But I was in my hallway and I knew that if I simply created a video every single day, that it would change my life the most. And here, like a year and a couple months later, I'm a full-time YouTuber. I have my own business and I'm really moving in a totally new direction. And it's very empowering. That's how it feels. And that's all it was, is I went from the theory to the actual application of it. And in that application of it, everything began to change because I began to develop a momentum. So what I want to do is encourage you to say, if you're learning the theories, I think that is awesome. I think that that's part of the process. However, there is this line to where when you start to embody it, you're like, I know that if I get into new places, that I start to fire new neurons in the brain. I know that if I push myself to do things I haven't done before, that then I create powerful change in my life. I know that intellectually, but how can I actually apply that? What is the first step I can take in order to do that? That's where the power is going to be. That's what changed my life the most. I've worked with so many people now online, coaching people, and the biggest change that I can ever give to someone is understanding that we create our own reality, and that then you can feel empowered to move forward in knowing that. So let's talk for a minute about the belief that we have about reality in general. If we believe that there is a correlation between what we think and what we experience, then we experience a profound change in our life when we start to direct those thoughts and those focus. Now, the thing with action is action can be very powerful, and actions changed my life a lot. However, a lot of times when it comes to action, it's people's belief in that action that then has them go through and create the profound change in their life. Because action, in a way, is kind of like a thought form that a lot of people buy into. And because a lot of us think about it and a lot of us have seen it and a lot of us know it, it's like it works for so many people. Now, I still believe that action is powerful because I subscribe to that belief system. I subscribe and I understand that action is a part of the process for me because I love to take action. So what I want you to understand is that everything we experience in our life is a reflection of what we believe to be true. If I buy into action, then action will work for me. If you buy into action and you don't take action, then it won't work for you. So I believe that the best way to go about it is to move forward in the direction of what you love, feeling the passion for whatever that is, and move forward regardless of what the outside says, as long as you're attached, or not attached, but as long as you're feeling the emotion primarily. See, this is the thing. Reality is a reflection of what we believe to be true, but that reflection sometimes doesn't change until we, quote unquote, hold the frame. We don't look to the outer reflection to change before we change. We change regardless, and because we have changed, then what happens is things move in a completely new way. Because true change is not being dependent on what the outer reflection looks like. If we say the outer reflection has to change, it's almost like we're staring in a mirror waiting for our reflection to change, but we know that our reflection will never change until we first change. Because that's all reality is. Reality is a reflection of what we believe to be true. So another thing I want to tap on is really understanding collective manifestation. It's something I've been talking about recently. I think it is so powerful. And basically what it has to do with is understanding that just like we create our own reality from our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions, and our actions, because that is what we embody and then we get an outer reflection of it, collectively we are all connected. We are also creating world events that align with that energy. Whatever we masses are focused on is the direction of where things are going. Now, we know this even looking at the presidential election, for example. Whoever has the most attention, positive or negative, wins the election. And that's what happened. Anytime we are collectively focused on certain emotions, that is creating a certain reality for us. So when we see the news and the news is triggering all these negative emotions, collectively we are adding so much energy into a direction that we no longer prefer. And this is something that is done unconsciously. But sometimes the best thing we can do is to stop focusing on those timelines, on those types of energy states, that reality, because we are creating it collectively. Now, why am I telling you all this? Well, a lot of times what happens is our focus in a way gets hijacked by the outer environment. We are told what to believe through the media. There's a certain level of reality that is projected to us that we think is real. In reality is a form of an illusion. It's a consistent illusion, but nonetheless it's illusion. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, the more you understand that this is much more flexible than we priorly thought that it was, the more you can really make profound change in your life by then taking action and feeling empowered to go in that direction. You see, there are people, I'm being careful with the way that I say this because I don't want to come off as like some conspiracy theorist. But one thing that there are people on the world that understand is that when we have our focus on certain things, that creates a certain reality. So if we're focused on certain events, if we're focused on the news, if we're focused on these things, it creates a certain template for the way we see the world. And the more we allow our attention to go in that direction, the more we create that reality. But the truth is, it's actually much more flexible than we priorly thought that it was. We've just been bought into a certain reality for so long. We've been plugged in to that kind of reality. Now, I'm not saying this for fear. I'm not saying this to make you feel scared. I'm saying this to help you feel empowered and knowing that when you start to take direction of your own focus, you start to take direction of your own life. When you start to read books that you're really interested in, you start to move your life in a completely new direction. And more so than that, when you start to apply it by taking action, everything can begin to change. Because you start to create momentum in the direction that you want. That's where power really is. And empowerment is about your ability to focus and to follow through with that which you are learning. And to understand that your belief about the whole process really goes into and what determines what you experience. If you believe that life is flexible, that things can happen based on your focus, then you are going to feel more empowered to take that action. If you believe that the LOA maybe isn't real, or if you believe that things come hard, if your overall general beliefs about the process are that things are very rigid, then what will happen is then we create that kind of experience in our life. This is about taking our power back by understanding that when we start to move in a certain direction and embody that which we know, everything begins to change. And that comes from the awareness that what we experience in our life is a reflection of what we believe to be true. And there is so much more flexibility than we priorly thought that there was. That people and that certain organizations may try to use our focus to focus on certain things. They use movies, they use media, because they know that collective manifestation is something that is very powerful. They're in a way using our own power to create a certain type of timeline for them. And once again, I'm not saying this to be scared or to put fear into the situation. I'm saying this from the point of awareness of why don't we focus on what we want. Because when we do that, amazing things begin to change. Think about it. There are advertising companies, there are companies that will pay millions of dollars for 30 seconds of your focus. Because they know that whatever we focus on grows. And they know that whatever we focus on, we strengthen neurosynaptic connections within our brain on it, so that the next time we go to the grocery store, we know that we should get Charmin Ultra, because everyone knows that less is more. You see, our focus is where the power is. And when we don't, and we aren't aware of it, and we're just putting our focus in any direction that is put in front of us, then we continue to create that reality. But the moment we start to take our power back is the moment we can focus in the direction of what we want, and we can create what we want. But it has to go down to the beliefs about the process, and understand when you let go of believing that things are very rigid, when you understand that in a way life is an experience that we're having, but there's much more flexibility than we priorly thought, that's when you'll start to take and create powerful change. And it all comes from one choice. The choice to move in the direction of what you want, even if it feels a little bit scary, but to do it because embodying the information is much more powerful than just the information itself. That's when your life can transform. My life transformed about a year and a couple months ago when I decided I was going to embody that which I learned. So dramatically, in a powerful, positive way, that I'm able to live the kind of life that I want. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying. Like, I went to Sedona a week ago with my buddy Victor. And I was there for 3 days. We had a great time. We did whatever we wanted to do. We got some work done. Come back here, do what I want to do. It's not like I have to go to a 9-to-5 job like I did a year and a half ago when I'd go to Sedona. I went to Costa Rica a couple months ago. I get up and I get my work done for the day, and then after that, I could do what I want. I love what I do, and it's because I've started to apply that which I've learned and moving in the direction of what I want. I feel so empowered because I know that I can create what I want in my life with my focus. I encourage you, I implore you to start to focus deliberately, and that when you start to focus deliberately, your whole life will begin to change. So another part of this process is understanding our vibration. When we raise our vibration, our leveraged action is what is powerful. We learn how to create from a much more powerful point of view. When we increase our state of being, we create more easily than ever. And that's why I've created a free guided meditation that will show you how to raise your vibrational set point. This is something that has changed my life, applying the kind of visualization that I use in this meditation. So if you want to learn how to transform your life by raising your vibration and creating from a much more powerful place, you'll see in the top of the description box below, you'll be able to download that for absolutely free. I recommend you do it for 21 days at least, maybe even longer, and you'll really start to see a profound change in your life. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you guys liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, hit that little notification gear so that you can see the daily vids that I do. And other than that, as always, peace, much love, and namaste.